Ever since Nigeria was forged in 1914, there has never ever been a government so nepotistic as what we have currently been plagued with for the past 5 years. As a matter of fact, a government so openly nepotistic that it spites people from other parts of the country. However, what we see as far as the federal appointments are concerned is first a northern Muslim, then a Yoruba Muslim, and perhaps any other person. But that's an issue for another day that we would talk about. For the time being, I just want to call the attention of Nigerians on the sudden propaganda by the government, by state governors, by certain first-class monarchs to demonize the NSAS protest. Exactly the reason behind that, we do not know. But the aim of this message to Nigerians is to make sure that we do not allow a lie in our very eyes, to our own knowledge, to be chiseled into the history of Nigeria. That would be very, very unfair to our children and our children's children. For two weeks, young Nigerians were out on the street protesting, regardless religion, regardless section, regardless ethnic allegiances, peacefully protesting against a security unit whose modus operandi is 100% symbolic of the Buhari-led administration. But then what exactly went wrong? Why should a government, if I would ask, who is supposed to be committed to securing the future of young people, feel threatened by a peaceful protest? And most important of all, why is the government and governors and monarchs dedicated to demonizing a peaceful protest? Now we must understand that the protest was a very simple, peaceful process. Locally and internationally, it was being followed. It was so peaceful that on a particular walk, I had my 3-year-old son on my back. I saw women with their children. That was how peaceful it was. It was so peaceful that young people defied and rebelled against that old trick of using religion and ethnicity to divide us. Because there were Christians, there were Muslims, there were Southerners and Northerners in different cities of Nigeria protesting, crying out for justice. People came with food and shared, people came with water and shared. We all cried out, called on the name of God and asked for justice, as if that was too much to ask. That wasn't enough to call the attention of the government. But then what happened? Lies began to come up, and then at some point we claimed that it was hijacked. Nothing was hijacked. We are made to believe that the protest turned violent, but it didn't. In our very own eyes, we noticed how thugs were mobilized. We noticed how thugs were led to attack people. People were killed, people were destroyed, properties were destroyed, and it appears it is the protesters that did it. Now, on no account whatsoever must we in any way accept the lie that the protest turned violent or that the protest was hijacked. We are very much aware in our mind the line between the peaceful protest and the sponsored violence that was used to destroy the protests. And rather than monarchs and northern governors to gather in Kaduna, one would expect that actually they would address issues that are very, very paramount to the country, like Boko Haram, like the unresolved strike, like the hunger, like the illiteracy and all of that. But all they gathered was actually to carry out a conspiracy to castrate young people. What did we do? Because we peacefully protested, what crime did we commit? Why are they clamping down on us? Why are our lives being threatened? Why can't we freely speak out? And how exactly is social media the problem? But then we're not surprised because, frankly, this is typically characteristic of every tyrant. He cowardly hides behind his lieutenants while they do the dirty job. So we know it. But I am thinking this is the question they should help Nigerians ask. The monarchs should come together, traditional rulers, community leaders, elders. Elder statesmen should come together and help Nigerians to ask the following questions. How is it that the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Army Staff and other security heads are not explaining to Nigerians, from what we saw from video evidences, from eyewitnesses, how come there were joint operations between security forces of the federal government and touts who attacked and killed innocent Nigerians on a peaceful protest? Why not explain to Nigerians how the FCT authorities, whether they were blind to it or not, nobody knows. But how is it possible that in the Federal Capital Territory, you move around with truckloads of thugs, wielding swords, machetes, sticks, and chanting, and they pass through the city until they located peaceful protesters, killed people, burnt down cars, and not one of them was arrested? Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not asking questions about why none of them has been arrested? And why is the Inspector General of Police bent on clamping down on peaceful protesters when all of those criminals who burnt down cars, stole in shops, and congregated in Abuja from wherever they came from are moving around freely? Not one of them has been arrested. So I want to call on the attention of Nigerians that we mustn't allow this lie to stand. It's a propaganda being carried out to attach the lie to the peaceful protest. But we know very well there is a clear line between the peaceful protest and the lies that the government are propagating. So rather than absorb it that the peaceful protest turned violent or it was hijacked into violence, we know that it's a lie. We must stand in the truth that the protest is still on in our mind. It's not exactly as if it is death. So the government shouldn't live in a fool's paradise. We mustn't be worried about what if it comes again. The question we should be asking ourselves, was the protest in the first place crushed? No, it wasn't. As a matter of fact, it is another phase of it that we will demonstrate our sincerity, that we are actually not violent, and so we are back in our homes, but the same fire is burning. So I have this message to Nigerians. You may be a mother out there mourning the death of your child, either because of the bullet of SARS, either because of the bullet of the security agents that were asked to crush the protest, either by the machetes of the touts that were sponsored to kill protesters. The message I have for you is this: don't ever find comfort in the lies that are being propagated. Don't think your children died because of peaceful protest. No. They died because some criminals sponsored thugs to kill them, because they find their resolve and their resolution threatening. If you are a young man who has been hurt either by SARS or by the thugs, or have been arrested by the police, or is being clamped down by security agencies, please, I beg of you, let your anger and your fury continue to rage. Continue to rage in the same peaceful atmosphere that we ran those 2 weeks of peaceful protests. We are not criminals. Nobody can catch us and say we raped anybody's daughter. Nobody will catch us and say we broke into a store and took water. No, we didn't. We actually fed people. We actually shared food. We actually reached out in love. We fed even the security agents that will turn around at some point to harm us. So let's keep the fire burning. Let's keep the light burning. Let's keep our hope alive. Let us turn that anger into the hope of the justice that will only settle this matter. Because peace only thrives on the bedrock of justice. And as far as this government is concerned, that is not what they want. First, they lie to us that they have heard our cry, and then the next minute we are calm and they begin to clamp down on people. That is unfair, that is a lie, that is insincerity. They are in no way determined to bring justice. They are only determined to crush anything they feel is anti-government. Is it a difficult thing to listen to the yearning of people? Is it a difficult thing to render justice? Please, let's keep the hope burning. Let's keep the anger, the pain, the sorrow. Let's turn it into the fire that keeps our hope on that justice that will surely come. Thank you.